Konnichiwa, my fellow U.S. Hometakians. Mike Overson here, Illuminate Bank. We are back with another riveting show talking all things real estate and mortgage. I'm your host, Mike Overson with Illuminate Bank. With me on the show today is Jason Walgrave with RE/MAX Advantage Plus and the Minnesota real estate team in the Walgrave Real Estate Group. Also with us on the show today is Marcus Walgrave with the South Dakota Home Team, powered by Hague Realtors.
Ooh, he's struggling this morning, folks. Overson is having a hard time with words. He's having a hard time with words.
I came up with Konnichiwa.
Is that Japanese? That is, right?
I don't know. I heard it in a song or something like that. I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool.
It does sound cool.
And when's the last time either one of you said Konnichiwa?
Is that like good day or something, or what is that? I think that's what
Probably
that means.
hello, good day, something. I don't know.
Probably the last time I watched Austin Powers is probably the last time I said that.
So anyway, we're here. We're talking about all things mortgage and real estate. We're U.S. Home Talk. Jason and I are located in the metro area of Minneapolis. Marcus is in the Sioux Falls, South Dakota metro area there. And we're going to be talking about the hot topics. The two hot topics in our industry in today's world are rates, mortgage rates, and then also home prices. What's happening with home prices, where we think they're going to go, all that fun stuff there. Now, we do have one of these fancy things called a website that you can go visit us at. Fancy.
Have you been drinking this morning?
Not enough, apparently. This is what happens when you coach 3 football teams. So you work all day, you go home, you coach, and then you get the kids to bed, and then you work till 12 or 1 o'clock every single night to get caught up.
Fair enough.
That's what's happening here.
Fair enough.
That's fair. Yeah, come on.
And then the wife worked the overnight last night, so she worked all night and then got home at 7:30 and went straight to bed. Then I had all the kid stuff this morning. So anyway, my brain's a little scattered. I got mom brain right now, even though I'm a dad.
I love it.
Okay, so anyway, we got one of these new fancy things called a website.
You nailed that one. I love it.
That you can visit us at ushometalk.com. You can get access to all our previous shows, and you can contact us during the week with any questions that you have, all that fun stuff there. You can also find us on any sort of podcast service that you are on, whether it's Spotify, iTunes. I don't know what other services are out there.
All of them.
But anyway, all of them. All the podcast services, we're on them, and you can find us at US Home Talk. Okay, let's jump into our topic here. We're going to first talk about interest rates, because there is a lot of talks about the Feds lowering interest rates, and everyone's like, oh, the Feds are lowering rates, mortgage rates are going to come down, sweet, like this is great. But is that truly the case? Does the Fed's funds rate directly impact mortgage rates? No, it does not.
No.
Right? Biggest misconception out there, right? You're going to see a lot in the news and the media saying the Feds are planning on lowering rates, and a lot of people are going to just talk about, oh, great, mortgage rates are going down. I'm going to hold off on my refinance, and wait for the Feds to lower rates the next time or whatever. It's not necessarily the case. The Fed's funds rate basically directly affects short-term rates. That would be home equity lines of credit, auto loans, credit card interest rates, things like that. First mortgage rates, your long-term first mortgage rates, your 15, 20, 30-year fixed rates, it's not directly related to that. Now, over time, does a lower Fed funds rate reduce mortgage rates? Yes, over time it does, because it affects the economy, right? It's the effects that the lower Fed rate has on the economy that then will eventually change mortgage rates. But it's not direct, and it's usually not instant. So a Fed's funds rate lowering in September might not equal lower mortgage rates until 3 to 9 months down the road. Any comments on that, fellas?
Well, I think that we're all, waiting for mortgage rates to go down, and I think that we've been talking about it all year that we believe it's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. I think that there certainly is, some support of that, with the different agencies, and I think it'd be really good. I mean, I want to see those 30-year fixed conventional rates at 5.5. and I think if they get there, we're gonna, things are really gonna be rocking and rolling in real estate. Because if they're at a 5.5, and you plan on being there a long time, you can buy it down to a 4.5, and 4.5, that's a number that, folks are like, yeah, I'm at a 3.5 right now, but I can justify going to a 4.5 because we need a bigger house, or we need a different house. And so, that's not, but if you're talking, 3.5, between 3.5 and 6.5, it's hard to make that move, right? When you have a 3% difference in your mortgage rate. So I think there's gonna be a lot of activity. I think there's gonna be a lot of action when that happens. It's also gonna mean there's gonna be a lot of competition too, right? And so we've got a few more listings than we had last year at this time and in previous years, but overall inventory is still down when you compare it to what a healthy or normal market should be. So, I mean, I think it's good. I think that it's a long coming, and I'm looking forward to those rates going down. It also, impacts commercial loans. I mean, we've worked with so many investors over the years, and that investor buyer market has been pretty quiet the last couple of years because those commercial mortgage rates are just, they're too high where you can't make the numbers work, right? And so I think with rates coming down, we're going to see duplexes and fourplexes and commercial buildings moving better than they were. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, as far as predictions go, so this is one thing that I thought was interesting, right? Because I know what our predictions are. We have spoken amongst each other, and we think, we spoke about where we think rates are going to be, let's say later this year, moving into the spring market. If I look at Fannie Mae and if I look at NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, right? So Fannie Mae is saying their prediction at the end of 2025, rates at 6.4%.
Wow.
Which is they're pretty much there right now, right?
Yeah.
So they're basically saying not much more of a drop than what we've seen at the end of 2025. In 2026, by the end of 2026, they're thinking 6% flat.
Wow. So they're not predicting much.
And that was
movement
Fannie
at
Mae?
all.
That was Fannie Mae. Now NAR said the fixed mortgage rate will be around 6.7% as an average in 2025, declining to approximately 6% in 2026. So they're also thinking that 6% mark in 2026. They're not talking about fives.
Sure.
Which I personally think when we look at the spring coming up, I think we're going to see rates in the fives in the spring. I think March, April, May, somewhere in there, we're going to hit that 30-year fixed conventional rate. Is going to be just below the 6 mark, 5.875, 5.99, something like that. That's what I personally think, but these other associations, not so much.
And
What do you think about that, Marcus?
I don't think we're going to hit that. I mean, we had the Yoda on, Steve Perkins, and I'm just going to go back to the inflation. And then everybody talks about how sticky it is. In these events, what happens in the U.S. economy when the real estate industry, residential, is booming? Well, when you get into a house, what do you usually do?
Buy stuff.
Man, we kind of need to get a new couch. These appliances were a little dated, and the seller was able to sell it that way because inventory is low, so they didn't really need to upgrade it, to sell the property and get what they wanted. But so we had to kind of buy it with some dated furniture and dated appliances. So we're gonna have to purchase those things. Mm-hmm. And so when you see those consumer buys, start to take off, accelerate, well then, we're gonna be talking about inflation again. I know the rate right now is attractive, but if we have a U.S. economy that really takes off on consumer spending, they're going to be like, hey, it's back. We got to raise the rates again. So, I mean, I think those numbers that they're thinking are probably going to be spot on. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we are right on the 6.5 at the end of the year. Like as always, there's always a day or two or a week here or there that it's really attractive, or maybe not as attractive, but as a whole, at the end of next year, it's probably going to be 6. I think that could be very realistic as well. the spring real estate. And I think the reason why I'm saying this too, and why I feel this way, it's, if you're a buyer out there and you're thinking, I'm going to wait till we get fives, man, it's risky. I think you need to capitalize. If you want to buy a house and you're able to buy a house today, capitalize on today's rate. If they do drop, okay, great, refinance. This whole idea of waiting for that rate to come down and then buying is a dangerous approach. So it wouldn't surprise me if Fannie Mae and NAR are pretty spot on with those forecasts.
Yeah, I agree with you, Marcus. Waiting is risky and will likely cost you a lot. Next week's show we'll just bring in a quick little example to go over, spend a few minutes on it, the cost of waiting, and compare rates at today's rate at whatever it is, and then appreciation based on historical data, and we'll take a look at, okay, if you're waiting for 5.9, and you're going to wait a year, what's that going to cost you? So and it's pretty clear when you break it down and you look at the actual cost of waiting.
Yeah. To your point, Marcus, you can always change your interest rate. If rates go down, you can change it because you can refinance. You can change your interest rate. Can you change what you paid for the house? Can you go back and say, seller, you sold this house to me a year ago, but now home prices are lower, so can you give me some of my money back that I paid for this house?
Yeah.
Nope.
No, right?
No.
Can't change it. So it kind of leads into our next thing of like home prices and where home prices are at right now. Marcus is saying if you can capitalize on something, we'll capitalize on where home prices are now. Because this is what's going to happen if we get into the spring. And if we get rates that start with a 5, even if it's 5.99, if they start with a 5, okay, this spring is going to be bonkers. There's going to be 9 additional million buyers that come out of the woodwork that get injected into the market that now you're competing against for that house. Okay, what happens to home prices when you have 5, 6, 7, 15 people offering on the house, right?
Yep.
It's going up. So can you capitalize on a home price that you can get today or this fall, right? And get the best of both worlds. Can I get the lowest house price on the house, and then can I get the lowest mortgage interest rate? I think you can. I think you got to capitalize on the house when prices are down a little bit, which we're seeing that kind of now. We're starting to come into that time of the year for us up here. But then you can always capitalize on that interest rate in the future when it drops.
Yeah, we're seeing more price reductions right now you look at the last 2 months, I've seen more price reductions than I can remember. Going back, probably 8 or 10 years. I mean, there's a lot of price reductions right now, and so there's opportunity for buyers to lock into a really good, reasonable price on that house, and then again, you're not locked into the rate. You're just but you can take advantage of, I think, some really good deals right now if a buyer.
If you're talking rates, guys, I mean, historically in the United States, if you can get a 6.5 rate, it's pretty good.
Yep.
I know it doesn't look that attractive when the housing costs are as high as they are. But historically speaking, I think that this is something that, because then you might get some of those individuals who are like, hey, we're waiting for the price reductions to crash, and then we're going to buy when that happens. If you're curious on what the housing market's going to do in the United States, last time I checked, I don't know if you guys know the Warren Buffett. Have you heard of that person?
Who's that?
Pretty. He seems to be
a country singer, right?
Well, close.
Doesn't he sing Margaritaville?
Yeah, that's it. How'd you know? But just earlier this month, in August 2025, the filing revealed that Berkshire Hathaway invested $1 billion in Lennar.
Whoa!
So if he's betting on that,
that's big.
And you think, not you as in YouTube, but you out there who's waiting for the real estate market in the U.S. to crash and to buy houses like you could in 2009 or 2010. Okay, that's either you're right, you figured it out, and Warren is way off. Warren Buffett's way off. So it's like, okay, which one is it? My bet is that the housing market's going to be quite strong in the U.S. for many years to come, and take advantage of it at it when you can today, because it will likely be more expensive tomorrow.
Now we're going to take a short break for the legal minute, but we're going to come back. I got some more information on Lennar. It's funny you bring that up, Marcus, because I do have some back end information on that. But let's do the legal minute now, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about that.
This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. Residential leasing is a heavily regulated area of the law in Minnesota, fraught with pitfalls for the unwary landlord. While a written lease is required only for residential buildings with 12 or more units or for terms longer than 1 year, it is always the best practice to enter into a written lease with tenants. The basic terms that should be included in any residential lease are the names of the parties, including any property management company charged with enforcing the lease, the duration of the lease, the monthly rent amount, and remedies in the event that either party breaches the lease. For landlords, a clause providing for the collection of attorney's fees and court costs if an enforcement action becomes necessary. There are also implied terms to any lease, including the covenant of quiet enjoyment, which is the assurance by the landlord that he has the right to lease the premises and that the tenant's possession of the premises shall be free from hostile claims. Whether you are a landlord looking for assistance in drafting or enforcing a lease, or a tenant who feels your rights under a lease are being infringed upon, you should consult an attorney knowledgeable in landlord-tenant law. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Smartest man in real estate that I know. Talking about Lennar. So I did hear, and again, this is just right. This is just through the real estate grapevine that we got here in the market we're in. But they are gobbling up lots. They are gobbling up land. They are predicting a big 2026, and so they are aggressively out there. Getting in developments and buying lots so that they can build a house so that they can ramp up their production in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lennar's number 2, right? D.R. Horton's number 1 builder. Lennar's probably number 2. I think if we looked it up, that's probably and Pulte's probably 3. But I'll tell you what, there's a reason why the national builders, Horton, Lennar, Pulte, continued to build and develop every year for the last 20 years. To be profitable in building in today's world, you really have to buy the land. You've got to develop it. You've got to build the homes. You got to offer the mortgage and the title, and all the services. It's a challenge for medium to small size builders in the last 4 or 5 years to be profitable, because it's, land cost, everything costs more. Land costs more, construction costs more, but
Regulations.
Yep. Exactly. But the nationals, the big ones, Horton, Lennar, and Pulte, they have the capital and the ability to go from dirt to finished product, right? And so
developer and builder,
and
seller,
and mortgage and title and the whole deal. And so that doesn't surprise me that they're doing that. And Lennar's a really good national builder. I mean, it's, you get a good house for the cost. Same with Horton and same with Pulte. They're not your, high-end luxury custom home builder, but they do a good job, and they really have good customer service and after close care, and their warranty work and all of it. And so not surprised to hear that. I was surprised to hear Buffett's company invested $1 billion into them. Holy moly. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting. But it also makes sense. I mean, I think that, you look at how volatile the stock market is and has always been. And then you look at real estate, and real estate feels to be a safer bet, and so, I mean, it's exciting to see. I love seeing developments come up and, and dirt getting moved and, trails and parks and ponds and new houses being built. I mean, it's exciting and it's fun to see.
You think Buffett wrote a personal check for that?
I think he just all 20s.
And is there enough room on a personal check to write that many zeros? Fit it in that little box?
He pulled a Randy Moss and he just paid straight cash. You wouldn't fit that in a briefcase. He probably pulled up in a armored truck and then just opened the back and just mounds of cash just tumbled out the back doors. Just stacks.
Here you go. So what do you think is going to happen? So, I mean, there's talks out there. It's like, Jason, you kind of brought it up. It's like, hey, our market's going to crash, right? And home prices are going to come way down and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, what do you see here? I mean, our market up here in the Midwest is different than what you're going to see in like in Arizona, like a Phoenix, Arizona, or the Florida market, right? So we're talking about the Midwest here. Those markets have already seen huge increases in inventory and home prices dropping more than what we're seeing here. But you look in the Midwest here, honestly, what do you think is going to happen if we go move into this fall and then into the spring?
I think the market's going to be great. I think that we're going to be healthy. And keep in mind with the price reductions that we're seeing, I think some of that, maybe a lot of that, has to do with, we've had this days on market that's been pretty dang low for the last 3-4 years, right? I mean, sitting at
Crazy low, right?
30
days lower than it
30
should be,
days
yep.
on the market. Yeah, and now that's a little bit higher because there's a few more homes for sale. But I think a lot of sellers are still in that mentality where they're like, all right, I already found the house I'm going to buy. Let's go. And if it's not sold in 30 days, all right, well, I'm moving regardless. So let's aggressively drop that price. And so it is, there is no bubble, folks. We have no wave of foreclosures or short sales coming. There's no crash coming in real estate. And so I think like Marcus said earlier in the show, real estate in the Midwest is going to be very, very healthy for a long time.
I agree. We'll see the seasonal slow down like we always do, right?
Yep.
Our winters, they're rough. But
Yeah,
other than that,
Yep.
Go ahead,
Yep.
Marcus.
And I think just to kind of recap on that too, Jason and Mike, when we talk about some of those markets that are seeing the price reductions, and I shouldn't say price reductions, but just generally the average sale prices coming down, they had some pretty larger increases from 2020 to 2023, where they saw, maybe twice as much value increase in those markets. So those markets are correcting. But when you look at like the Midwest, yes, we saw above average increases year over year in appreciation during 21, 22, but they weren't like astronomical like they were in some of the other markets. Those markets that saw those rates or those increases just skyrocket, they're leveling out and they're becoming more balanced. But then when we look at it in ours, we just didn't see that aggressive. So when we see our Midwest, that's why I don't think you're going to see these big declines that you may have seen in other states.
I agree with you, fellas. I agree. So the summary for today is right? Don't hold your breath for interest rates going crazy low. Right? They might still drop slowly, but I think we're all correct here. Fannie Mae, NAR, 6%. I think maybe they can go a little bit lower than that, but the bottom's not going to drop out, right? So don't hold your breath for lower interest rates. If you're in the game to buy a house, don't wait for that. You're going to be waiting longer than you think, and you're going to be missing the boat. And then B, home prices, they're going to stay pretty steady up here in our market. And if we go into the spring with rates that start with the 5, just know this, right? We're going to be back to almost COVID craziness, where it's going to be 15, 20 offers on every single house out there. Home prices will go back up because of that competition. So again, as a buyer, you don't want to put yourself in that position. You would be better off buying this fall and then refinancing to lower rates in the spring, so you're not caught in that craziness that's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Well, we appreciate everyone joining the show today. We'll be back next Wednesday with another live show, noon Central Standard Time. On behalf of Jason Walgrave and Marcus Walgrave, I'm Mike Overson. We'll see you next week.